This is Barbara with Cana Girl Speaks podcast. My voice, your voice. Good evening, everybody. This is Barbara with the Cana Girl Speaks podcast, and I always open up thanking you for always supporting the Cana Girl Speaks podcast. Thank you for always watching on YouTube. Thank you for listening on any of the podcast apps. But thank you. So on this evening, I'm so excited to have a family on that I've known the misses, for a while now, and so I'm glad that they're coming on to be on the Cana Girl Speaks podcast. So I'm going to introduce to you Jennifer and Paul and Chloe. So I'm going to have them tell you a little bit about who they are. So why don't, Jennifer, you go first.
So I'm Captain Jennifer Chisholm with the Salvation Army,
Yes.
and I have been here in Corsicana for over 4 years. I've been working for the Salvation Army as a minister for about 14, and working for the Army as a whole, Salvation Army, for over almost 20 years.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, it's been a while. But I've loved Corsicana, and I was blessed this past June
Yeah.
to get married. My last name was Schmidt.
Mm-hmm.
And so I met a wonderful guy online.
Great.
It works.
Yeah.
We actually had a lot of mutual friends in common on Facebook. And so we had actually been friends for a while
Yeah,
before we'd start talking.
Yeah.
It was actually around this time last year.
it was.
Yeah.
Christmas time is a little crazy, busy,
Yeah.
wonderful, and rough
Yeah.
time
Yeah.
for the Salvation Army. And so I was commenting about just one of those days, and he had messaged me, and then we started talking. And so we got married in June.
Okay. So, Paul, why don't you tell those that are watching on YouTube
Yes.
and those that are listening who Paul is?
Beautiful. My name is Paul Chisholm. My rank with Salvation Army is lieutenant. I've been a single dad to my beautiful daughter Chloe for the last 7 years, and God finally provided a wonderful woman to not only be my wife but to be a mother to Chloe. I've been a minister with the Salvation Army for 2 years already, and I was previously stationed in Fountain Valley, Colorado.
Mm-hmm.
And when we met on Facebook and got to talking, and before we knew it, and we're like, okay, this is meant to be. So we talked to all the powers to be, and we ended up getting transferred down here and getting to do ministry here in Corsicana. I've been here since June 22nd, and we got married on June 25th. So long distance relationships do work.
Yeah.
They really do. I am a recovering alcoholic and addict, and I found sobriety through the Salvation Army, but
Okay.
most of all through my Lord and Savior Jesus Christ.
Okay. So, Miss Chloe, why don't you tell the listening audience and those that are watching on YouTube about Chloe? What grade are you in? What school you go to?
So what grade I'm in is second, and I go to Park Brothers Academy. It is a Christian school, and I am 7. So yes, my dad was an addict, but he found the Lord for my grandpa, Papa Jerry. He passed away, I think, a couple years ago,
Years ago.
maybe 3.
About, yeah.
About. And so I go to school for 7 hours.
So you
Counting
time
minutes.
how long you're in school.
And every time when I get home, I'm so happy to see my mommy and daddy. And normally my dad makes dinner, and then we normally eat. And then my mom and dad let me set a 30-minute timer.
Okay. Well, okay. Well, thank you, ma'am. Well, so the reason why I wanted to bring them on, because we wanted to kind of talk about the Salvation Army. And before you came in, I was talking to my engineers about the Salvation Army. So how long has the Salvation Army been in existence?
So the Salvation Army has been around since 1865. It started
wow.
in East End, London. It was a dream child of a Methodist preacher who, William Booth.
Uh-huh.
We called him General Booth in the Army, but he all started as a Methodist minister who didn't understand why there were people who had to pay to go to church to start with, and if people couldn't pay, they couldn't go to church, interestingly enough.
Wow.
And so he was preaching on the street corner, and he looked out and he saw just people needing not just salvation, but soup, food, soap, hygiene. And so that's when he founded the Salvation Army, as it was a Christian mission, originally titled. And the mission was soup, soap, and salvation.
Okay.
And so it changed the name in about 1878. And interestingly enough, the Salvation Army has been here in Corsicana. We just celebrated 125 years last year.
Oh, wow.
So we have been here in Corsicana serving Navarro County since 1896. And in fact, one of our locations from the early 1900s is just a couple of buildings over in what's now the Coffee Center.
Okay. Okay. Didn't know that. So, so what the program that's here, I mean, what kind of services do you do?
We do a little bit of everything. So we're here to serve the community however it needs, spiritually and financially, emotionally. And so we do have a social services office that offers emergency food boxes as well as monthly food boxes where people come in, they are able to get a hopeful supplemental food. We're also able to offer rental assistance, utility assistance, and anything like that that they might need in order to what we like to call focusing on preventing homelessness. Ideally, what we're looking to do is to be able to help them in a way in which they're not. We are here to help those recover from homelessness, but we are also here to make sure that sometimes they never find that path. And to also break cycles of generational poverty.
Wow.
And so one of our biggest assistance is Christmas time is our Angel Tree program. Where we provide Christmas to over 600 children, almost about 300 families here in Navarro County. And one of the things we do is it's not like we ask for unwrapped presents, and a lot of times people have questions about that. And so one of the reasons we ask for unwrapped presents, in fact, if people get angel trees, we're even telling them if you adopt an angel, don't wrap it, but instead, if you want to get something, put the roll of wrapping paper in with your gift.
Okay.
Put the gift bag in with your gift, and we'll make sure they do. Because one of the things we're trying to help with the parents, a lot of times they're hesitant to come for assistance because of pride or shame.
Yeah.
And so we set our distribution so that the kids will still be in school. We ask that they not bring kids for registration and things like that, trying to do our due diligence in helping to keep Christmas alive for everyone. And so we even give the parents the opportunity to have the unmarked gifts. Now they're set aside for certain children. We make sure that that's communicated to the parent, but they have that opportunity, that sense of ownership. To go home and wrap the presents and place it under their own tree so that they too are involved in providing Christmas for their children. And so in the other seasonal event you may see is kettles. I'm actually
that's what they were saying earlier, that they're known for the kettles.
That may be how you're most familiar with us.
The bell ringing.
Bell ringing. And here's the thing that a lot of people don't understand about bell ringing is, and it's taken a different turn more recently, just because of just how it was. But years ago, bell ringing was how we would raise our financial assistance budget for the whole year.
Wow.
And so thankfully, I mean, as times have changed and that's not what happens, we've been able to find supplemental income, and we have year-long donors that help support the missions and the work that we do, that help feed the hungry, clothe those naked, and house those who need to be housed, which is all things we do. But the Christmas part is still important. And so we are blessed here to have a family store. And they just had their re-grand opening. Yes. It was well attended as well. Even in the rain, they came out.
That's right.
Well, and so here's something interesting about our family store that we always want to make sure people know. Is the proceeds, when you donate to the store, you donate your goods to the store, they're sold locally. When they're sold locally, here's what happens with that money. It's what helps our Christmas budget. It's what helps that kettle money that doesn't quite
Yeah.
fill that budget line
Yeah.
for assistance. That's what covers that distance.
And that's a good thing to know, because I recently did a lot of a closet clean out, and I donated everything to the Salvation Army because
We appreciate
I
it.
wanted to keep it here, like you said. So
Yeah. So when you're shopping with us, when you donate with us, that's helping us keep someone's lights on, keep
Yeah.
someone's heat on,
yeah,
keep someone's in their home,
yeah,
paying rent for them, and things like that.
I think my most favorite part about what we do is our summer camp program. Salvation Army owns a beautiful summer camp up in Midlothian. And what we are able to do with the donations that come into the store, we resell them, and then we are able to then send kids who wouldn't have a chance to go to camp
Yeah.
away for a week's worth of camp.
Wow.
I mean, it costs us about $300 per child to send to camp. And because of the donations through the store that are then sold, we're then able to send kids to camp. And what happens at camp is that they are a lot of young people are introduced to Christ for the first time. We see a lot of young people accept Jesus Christ as the Lord and Savior, and they have an opportunity to as we said, break the cycle of poverty.
Yeah.
They would never have this opportunity given to them to be able to leave for a whole week, leave mom and dad with a suitcase, and go off to camp and get an experience of a lifetime.
Yeah.
I mean, they have a pool, they got horses. I mean, there's a basketball courts, and they keep the kids just fully entertained and have this experience that normally they just would not have been able to have.
Wow.
And it's getting to see on the fear in the eyes as
Yeah.
they're leaving mom and dad for the first time, and then the when we go to pick them up a week later, and they're like, we don't want to go, we want to stay longer, and then to get to see them, and then they get introduced into our other programs, like our youth night or our teen programs, and then eventually we always hope that we can get the parents involved in a Bible study or come into Sunday service or Sunday school. I mean, that is ultimately the end goal that we're hoping to achieve. But even if that doesn't happen, just to see the joy on the child's face as you pick them up, and they get to tell you, it's I'm a little bit slower driver than most. It takes me a little longer to drive back, but to then hear the stories about all the wonderful things that they experienced, whether it was the first time they were able to actually do s'mores out on the campfire, or whether it was the first time that they had bunked in a community bunking, and things like that, and or the first time that they got to pet a horse, and so it's just been a lot of fun just to be able to be part of changing someone's life, be a part of just the planting of that seed, and we're going to leave it to God to water it and to tend to it, but if we can just plant that little seed in that little heart, and all it takes is a mustard seed of faith, and that is the joy that I get. I love summer camp season. It can be very tiring, almost as tiring as kettles. You got the registration, the paperwork, all that you have to do. But the end result of when you get to pick the kids up on Saturday and bring them home.
So if somebody wants to donate to, especially for this season, holiday season, how can they? Tell them how they can do that as far as donate to the Salvation Army.
So there's the original, the kettlebells that will be out.
What if you want to volunteer? What if they want to volunteer?
If you want to volunteer to ring a bell,
Yeah.
it's actually very simple. We've joined the 20th century, not quite the 21st. Not a QR code yet, but you can visit www.registertoring.com. And interestingly enough, that website works wherever you are. You just need to know some basic information. For instance, if you wanted to volunteer here in Corsicana, you needed our zip code, 75110.
Okay.
And it will pull it up and it will say, hey, and you'll be directed towards our Corsicana landing page, and you'll see our schedule and our locations. And it will say, well, these locations are already covered for this day, or these locations are open. Here's their shift times. We do have it divided up into 2-hour shifts.
Yeah, I did the bell ringing last year. Yeah.
How'd you like it?
I've done it before.
It's a lot of fun, right?
Yeah.
And so, and it works easier for us. We suggest, sign up for your 2-hour shift.
Yeah.
But then work. We man from 10 to 6. So we're like, get some friends.
Yeah.
Because one shift from 10 till 11, 11 to 12.
Yeah.
And then find a couple other friends to cover
Yeah.
the rest of the day.
So it's good to get groups involved. Yeah, your
Yes.
groups. Yeah.
Well, we do a Battle of the Bells
do.
for groups.
Okay.
And so another way that you can give this year, because we realize that sometimes we are super busy.
Mm-hmm.
Time is a precious commodity.
Yeah.
And so we always need a little bit longer in days.
Okay.
And so we have virtual online
Okay.
giving. So there's going to be an option when you pass our kettles that you can scan to donate through a QR code.
Okay.
Or you can actually volunteer to man an online red kettle.
Okay.
And so basically you share it the same way you would a GoFundMe
Okay.
or any other peer fundraising site, or even those Facebook fundraise.
So y'all have really kind of gone.
We're
you know,
trying.
yeah,
We're
y'all
trying to
have.
catch up
We're
with
trying.
times.
And
Yeah.
so we've encouraged people to go ahead and if you're interested, you can check out our Facebook page. It has information. In fact, if you go to the register to ring, it even tells you how to become a virtual bell ringer,
Okay.
how to set up your own kettle. And you can set up your own online kettle and share it with all your friends
Okay.
and
That's
everything.
good information.
And they'll be able to collect money that way, and you'll be able to collect money. Now, if you're a group and you have the opportunity to do it in person and online, yeah, that's double your pot
Yeah.
for the Battle of the Bells. win.
Okay. Okay.
Well, and then also, if you just come to our office right here at 212 East First Street Avenue,
Mhm.
that's a mouthful.
Yeah.
But right here in downtown, if you come in and you would like to help volunteer with the thrift store or sorting goods, or you want to help hand out food in the food pantry, or you would like to help hand out Thanksgiving dinner, Thanksgiving food boxes, or hand out the toys during the Christmas time, we can always use volunteers.
Okay. Well, that's good information.
So if you could just come right into the office, and we would love to welcome you with open arms and get you participating in your community.
Okay,
Absolutely.
well, thank you. Well, I want to say thank you for just coming down and talking about the Salvation Army. It is a very important organization for our community, and I want to say thank you for all the hard work that you do. I mean, I know Jennifer, since she's been here, she's hit the pavement. She's been,
Yes.
oh my goodness. And so, Paul, I know when you came on board, you hitting the pavement too.
She did all the groundwork, and
Yeah,
I'm like, okay,
yeah.
now let me come in.
Yes,
It's been
yes.
helpful to have a partner. I've been going, hey,
Yeah.
I've never figured out how to copy myself and be
Yeah.
in two places at once,
Yeah.
but now
Yeah, yeah.
here's some things that I would like you to do.
Yes, that's good. That's good. So I always give my guests an opportunity to give a shout out to anybody I'd like to give a shout out to. So why don't you give your shout outs too?
Well, we definitely can't do what we do without our staff and our advisory board. So we want to thank each and every one of them. I mean, they're what makes it possible.
Yeah.
And so thank you guys. You guys are amazing. And of course, I mean, we're a nonprofit that runs on
Yeah.
community support.
Yeah.
So thank
you,
you to
community.
all of our community
Yeah.
supporters, our community as a whole, for just being there.
Yeah. Yeah.
I would just like to say thank you to our first responders.
Yes.
They are out there risking their lives every single
Mhm.
day for our safety. And thank you, of course, Cana Police Department, Fire Department, paramedics. And then thank you for those that are serving our country so that we can have the freedoms that we have today.
Yes. Yes. Okay. Well, thank you so
Well,
much.
God
You're
bless you.
welcome.
Thank you. So for those that always support the Cana Girl Speaks podcast, thank you for supporting. Thank you for watching. Thank you for listening. And you guys, please support the Salvation Army because they are very important to not just Corsicana's community, but communities across this nation. I mean, just listen to what she said. They're over 100 years old. So they've been around a long time. So with that being said, have a safe week, a safe weekend, and we'll talk to you soon. Have a good evening. Thank you.
This is a Legacy Recording Studio production.